Hi everyone, Miss Boswell here for another art class. Today I'm going to show you how to make beads at home. We're going to make beads using paper, like magazines or newspapers or whatever you have at home. They'll look like this when we're finished. This is the bracelet that I made in this video. I think you'll really enjoy creating these beads because then you can use them either as jewelry or a keychain or any other kind of project that you can think of. These beads are made all over the world, especially in Africa. I'll add some pictures of artists who create paper beads in Africa. They are super cool to look at and super fun to create. So I think you'll really enjoy creating these beads. Now I'm going to show you a few of the things you'll need to do this project. You'll want some type of thin cardboard or thick construction paper that we can use to make a template, glue, scissors, a few toothpicks, a pencil, some type of string or wire, whatever you have at home will work fine, and magazines or newspapers. Now we're going to get started. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is create a template. A template is a tool that you can use to trace each time you create a magazine bead. Then each bead will be the exact same size. For this, you could use a cereal box or a thick piece of paper that is really sturdy. This is called cardstock paper. I'm going to use it because it's a little bit easier to cut. If you're cutting a cereal box, just remember to use your scissors safely and ask for help when you need it. Now, if you have a ruler at home, you can use that. If you don't have a ruler, that is no problem at all. You could use the edge of a cereal box to trace, or another piece of paper. This will work just as good as a ruler. We want our magazine beads to be about as long as this whole piece of paper when it is turned vertically. So I'm going to make a dot at the bottom and a small dot at the top to remind me of that. Now we want our magazine beads to be sort of like a really, really long triangle. So I'm going to connect the two dots that I made so that I have about 2 fingers width at the bottom and a little less than 1 finger width at the top. I'm going to make a line now. You can see that my ruler is turned just ever so slightly to create a really long triangular line. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So that my paper looks about like this. You can see it's about 2 fingers wide at the bottom and a little bit less than 1 finger wide at the top. That is a really long triangle shape. Now I'm going to cut it out using scissors. All right, now that I have my template cut out, I'm going to open up a page in the magazine that I really like. Now it doesn't have to so much be about the picture you like, but the colors, because when you lay your template down, we cut and roll this, only about this much of the bead will show. So really focus on the colors that you want your bead to be. I really like this pinkish purple color. So I'm going to lay my template down, hold it with 2 fingers, and grab a pencil. Now I'll just trace around the edge of my template. Slow and steady is the best way to do this. If you go too fast, sometimes your template will slide and not be the same shape each time. Now that I've traced my template, I'll cut it out also. Now that I have the magazine page cut, it is time for the trickiest and most rewarding part of the bead making process. So I'm going to grab my toothpick and start at the thicker end of the long magazine strip. You want to start rolling it around the toothpick as tight as you can. Now I know that this is very tricky, but I'm sure that you can get it. Try to hold it tight as you continue to roll. One of my favorite tricks is to hold the edge, just the very edge, and continue to pull it tight. I like to do this with my fingernail on my left hand. You will roll this all the way up. Again, slow and steady. This process takes a while, but it is so rewarding when you have created your own beads. Who would have ever thought that you could create beads like this before? Continue to roll. As you notice, it is getting thinner. The edges of the triangle that were wider are on the bottom. I am still rolling this very long magazine bead. When I have about this much left, that's when I'm going to grab my glue. Remember, make sure your glue is breathing and ready to work. Then I'll put just a dot of glue along the edge. Now you may get your fingers a little sticky here. I'm going to continue rolling and sort of push the glue out as it goes around. Then I will just use my finger to smooth out the glue all around the bead. Now don't say I didn't warn you when you get a little glue on your fingers. Okay, now this is my bead. As you can see right now, it is still on the toothpick, so I'm going to carefully try to slide it out. If it seems like it is stuck, you can always twist your toothpick. Sometimes that will loosen it up. Then when I pull it out, I now have a bead made out of a magazine. It is a little sticky for now, so you may want to set it aside to dry. I'm going to make a few more beads and then I will come back and show you how I put them together to create a bracelet. You could create whatever you like. It could be a keychain for your parents, a necklace, earrings, or just beads on a string that you hang in your room. This is how you make a paper magazine bead. To make a necklace, I think you will need about 4 or 5 beads, but you can make as many as you want. Or you could just experiment with making beads and give them to people that you know and love. All right, I'm going to come back when I've made all of my beads and I'll show you how I put them on a string. Okay, now that I've made a few beads, I'm going to show you how I would string them on a wire. This is just some jewelry wire that I had, but remember that you could use any kind of string that you have at home. I'm just going to feed them through in a pattern that I like. So I might do a few big ones and a few small ones. Now you may be wondering how I got different shapes. I just played around with creating different size templates. It's completely up to you. You could do all the same shape or you could do some different shapes. Some are skinnier, some are wider. That's really the only way I was able to make different shapes. So I'm just going to put them in the order that I like, and then let's see, maybe green on this side. It's a little bit hard to feed them in. You have to look really close and have a still hand. Okay, now that I have all of the beads on here, I could leave it like this. If I thought I needed more beads, I could always make more. They're pretty easy to make once you get the hang of it. Then I would just make it to the size I wanted if I was going to do a bracelet. If you're going to do a different kind of jewelry, you could look up online some different tutorials or come up with your own idea. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot because I think that might be the best way to hold it. Sort of like how you tie your shoe. And once I have it tied together, I could trim the edges off, but pretty much this is how my paper bead bracelet will look. I'll probably cut this off and straighten it up a little bit, but I encourage you to create whatever you want with your paper beads. Maybe you just want to make paper beads and have them to play with. It's completely up to you. So thank you for watching this video, and I can't wait to see what you create.